Hello everyone, my name is Sunshine Valentine and today I will be presenting my top 10 tips for unraveling the threads of turmoil to unlock serenity. And this is a serious topic, but I'd like to add a little bit of fun and interest to it. So I'm going to use a metaphor to help us to understand what we already know about this topic and how we can apply it to our lives. So first I'm going to tell you a little bit about my experience in this work. The tapestry of who you are often colors what you bring to a subject matter. So no matter how familiar a topic is, the way you present it is unique to you. So I'm going to tell you what the tapestry of my experience is and how I got led to this work. I'm a student success counselor here at the College of DuPage for 7 years. I'm the chair of the wellness committee here. I am a lupus warrior, so I bring that with me as well. I am a licensed professional counselor. I work in private practice, and I'm a member of the Illinois Association for Couples and Family Counselors, and I'm actually the past media and webmaster for the organization. Um, that is my counseling side of the job, but I'm also a licensed cosmetology teacher and I'm a salon suite owner. I basically specialize in helping people with medical hair loss. And I volunteer with the American Cancer Society. We're going to be having a Glow for Hope walk May 11th. I hope to see you guys there. And in addition to that, I lend my support in helping out as a wife, a mother, a daughter, a sister, a mentor, and a friend. So I am recording this presentation in my office at COD. I apologize if an email comes over. I do not quite know how to put that on silent so it doesn't disturb you, but we will just let it pass and keep rolling. Through my experiences, I've had the opportunity to support a lot of people who are going through chaotic situations in life. And so when your world is in chaos, it seems like nothing you try to accomplish goes the way you want it to. You find yourself missing important events, being irritable with other people, neglecting your health routines, losing the motivation to do things that you once were very excited about. There's just too much stimuli, and you're not able to put yourself on track or get back on track or stay on the track that you were currently in. That causes a lot of turmoil. And I've put up here a slide of some tumultuous and chaotic life experiences. And there's a lot of them. Take a look at them if you can. So relationship problems, health issues, financial instability, workplace challenges, loss and grief, major life transitions, natural disasters or traumatic events, addiction, substance abuse, legal problems, existential crisis. Um, think about how many of these experiences you have had to get through in your entire life. Um, for most of us, it's probably all of them, or maybe you've only not gotten through one or two. So that begs the question, who is this workshop for? It's really for everybody, anyone who's had to go through a traumatic experience and their world is in chaos and they want to unravel all that chaos and get back to the way life used to be. So I always love the Humanities presentations because what they do is ask you to look at something in a different light, bring a little bit of creativity to it, and share what you know about that topic with the world. So this year's topic is chaos, and as I was pondering how to bring something new and interesting to this topic, a funny thing happened while I was working at the salon. I had a client come in who had had a wonderful day out at the beach. She had a lot of fun, but she tangled her hair, and it got to a point where she wasn't able to do it, her untangle it herself. So she decided to come into the salon and do it. And as I was instructing the shampoo girl on how to release this tangle, unravel this tangle from her hair, I thought about how fitting this application of unraveling um, is not only for something as simple as untangling hair, but really for all of the challenging situations in life. So for today, I'm going to use that as a metaphor to help guide you through my top 10 tips. So for you, how do you feel when you are in the midst of chaos? A lot of people feel overwhelmed. Sometimes they don't even notice that they're in the midst of chaos until they try to move forward or try to move backwards and they find themselves at a standstill. They use all their wits, all their knowledge and experiences to just push through so they can get through to the next part of their life, but inevitably they end up stuck. There are a few people in life who actually see this chaos coming, but a lot of times because it happens so quickly, they're unable to stop the chaos from overwhelming them before they get to the solution. So I'm going to use the metaphor of a knotted tangle in the hair, or for those of you who can't really relate to that, if you think about the knot of computer spaghetti that connects your monitors, your mouse, your keyboard under the desk. All of those cords get piled up into this computer spaghetti. Then you can understand the metaphor that I'm using to unravel chaotic life situations. Regardless of which metaphor you use, there's often a feeling of bewilderment and wondering where to start. So these are my top 10 tips on how to do that. The first step is to find out what changed. Um, there are a lot of things that can happen along the way and that build so that you never even know a big change is coming. Think about how you got to that place. How did the change occur? Was it a change in people? A change in the environment? Sometimes the resources that you have access to have changed. Is this a temporary problem? Is it a long-term problem? Or has this been a problem that has been slowly developing over time and now you really have to do something about it? Um, Try to gain some perspective on the problem. That may be you thinking about it deeply or also consulting with those around you, be it your family members or colleagues, to gain some perspective on it. Try to look at the problem from as many different angles as you can. This is going to give you a thorough understanding of what's going on and also give you some tips on how to fix it. You may be too close to the problem to understand what you can do to solve it. Try to discover where the blockage is occurring, what's preventing you from moving forward or accomplishing this task. This may actually be from more than one spot. So a lot of times when you have a tangle in the hair, it's tangled in more than one area. So you may think you've solved one part of the problem, but there are many different things that need to be addressed. Find out how things are connected. Um, Oftentimes, what affects one area of the problem will also affect another area of the problem. And it's going to take some time to get through the problem. You may need to repeat steps over and over again until you completely solve the challenges in that particular area. It can feel like you've done all of this before, but There's often unique nuances that require you to do something a little differently. So step 2 is work from the bottom up. So when you are detangling a knot in your hair, it's very important to be patient and work from the bottom up. We'll talk about patience a little further in this discussion, but likewise with life, when you have a problem, it's very important to get to the bottom of that problem and then work your way up. Without starting at the bottom and getting to the heart of the matter, you'll never really solve the real problem at hand. I would say look for easy solutions first. Problems come with many layers, and if you can solve smaller problems really quickly, that's going to give you the momentum to power through some of the more difficult problems that you'll face later on. Sometimes you feel like you've detangled everything, you've set things straight in matters in your life, and then you run into the same problem again where you can't feel where the snag took place. And that's the same with hair. You think you've got it all detangled, you slide the comb through, and all of a sudden you can't move forward, you can't move back. Sometimes it's because you haven't detangled things on all sides. So the solution that you came up with may not be a solution that works best for everyone. So work your way up and make sure that you've checked in with other people who need to weigh into the solution to see if it's a good fit, because that can end up impeding your progress as well. You'll want to repeat these steps as necessary to make sure that the solution works for all parties involved and that it works for you as well. So step 3 and 4 is where all the work takes place. 3, dig in, and 4, pull apart. So when you're detangling a knot, the work is in finding the pieces of the knot that you can loosen and pull apart from the others. In real life or in counseling, we often talk about the locus of control, or some people have also referred to it as your circle of control and your circle of influence. Taking the time to sort out what you can actually influence and control versus the things that are beyond your control can help with anxiety. In detangling a real knot from the hair, you'll actually find that the knot is surrounded by some tangled, frizzy pieces of hair that are actually not in the knot itself. If you can pull those pieces away and focus in on the real thing that needs to be changed, then that's going to allow you to get some control over the chaotic mess. One of the best ways to do that is to know what your priorities are. If some of these priorities have changed, it could make a difference in the decisions that you make. Once you know what those priorities are, number 4 is pulling apart, separating and setting time aside to give time, effort, and energy to the things that really count and matter to you. Number 5 is to determine the best tool to use to solve your problem. So, will you be taking a conservative or an aggressive approach to solving this problem? Will your solution take a long time, so long that others have decided they don't even want to engage in the problem anymore? Is it going to be a quick fix that is incomplete? Will you use a combination of different approaches? How will the choices that you make reflect on you as an individual and the other people who are working with you or living with you? Will it affect the choices that you make and they make? Is this going to be a solution where You won the battle, but you really lost the war. So, for example, in a styling example, you go in to get layers cut into your hair, and then you end up with a bob, or worse yet, a pixie cut. How can you make the best decision? So when I get asked a lot of the times, the question usually surrounds a pro and con exercise. But I like to tell people, don't divorce your actual feelings from the list of pros and cons. You can make a list of the pros and the cons, but in a third column, you're going to list your emotions and how you really feel about that. That's going to be the best choice to determining your priorities alongside that list. It's very important to address how you feel, because these feelings can turn into nagging doubts that will cause you to question your decision making skills, and it's going to impede your progress in the future. Pay close attention to your values, because a good decision, or the best decision you can make, is one that leaves you in harmony with who you are and who you want to show up as in the world. Number 6 is to soften the hair, loosen the bonds, and this also applies in life as well. It shows up as practicing compassion. So being kind to yourself and others is very important when you are in a challenging situation. We all need to realize that we're humans, we make mistakes, and even though it's difficult for us, we should not be afraid to ask for help. Consult a counselor, take advantage of mental health resources that are available to you, join a support group, talk to someone you trust as a family member or a friend. All of these are things that you can do to help soften that blow that you experience when you're dealing with a chaotic life situation. You can detangle a lot more quickly when you use something like a conditioner or an oil to lubricate the hair. Likewise, if we're going with the metaphor of the computer wire spaghetti, sometimes you might need to wiggle those wires or bend them or rewrap them in order to get them to smooth out and take the form of whatever you need to do to make it fit into the place that you need it to. So this is the same thing with a life situation. Soften the experience by taking care of yourself. So loosen up, laugh a little, try not to take things too seriously, prioritize your health. That's going to help you feel better about what you're already doing to help the situation. And it's also going to allow you the time to really enjoy life by spending time with people who matter most to you and doing things that refresh and inspire you. So number 7 and number 8 are be patient and don't give up. So we said we would return to patience a little later in the presentation, and here we are. So being patient is very important, because if you're not patient in life and in hair, it can cause damage. So take your time, do it right, because many of the problems that you face happen because we've all tried to take shortcuts, get around cardinal rules, or make things happen a little more quickly than they usually do. In the words of Elle Woods, the rules of hair care are simple and finite. Any Cosmo girl would know. So likewise, in chaotic life situations, there may be time constraints, or there may be boundaries that are in place that you might need to consider. Have you or others made missteps because of a lack of time or a lack of resources? If you're still experiencing the problem, this may be the perfect time to establish what your boundaries are and research what you need to do to accomplish the task that's set before you. Possibly some new rules and procedures are necessary. Number 8 is a classic, and it is don't give up. So I have a poster of this in my office, and it says something similar, but each one is a little different. These are the 10 steps to success. Number 1, try. Number 2, try again. Number 3, try it a little differently. Number 4, try it again once more. Try it tomorrow. Try and ask for help. Try and find someone who's done it. Number 8, try to determine what's not working and start there. Or try to determine what is working and start there. Keep trying until you decide that it's time to try something new. So, you've been working at this knot for hours and hours and it still is not gone. How do you know when it's time to move on? How do you know when enough is enough and you're not actually giving up on yourself or the problem? So when your values are no longer aligned with your solutions, or the way you're handling things is getting in the way of what you want to accomplish in your life, that's when it may be time to cut your losses and move on. Deciding that something is not working for you is not the same as giving up. Moving on requires a change in mindset, and this may mean changing the way you think about things. I once saw a quote that struck me as simple and true, and it said, "Negative thinking will never make your life positive." And I think that that's really true. It becomes challenging when you have very tumultuous experiences in life and when these ideas that you have about the way things work don't line up with the reality of how life is. In counseling, we refer to these as core beliefs, and they can often be deep-seated and difficult to change. If you have problems with that, I would suggest reaching out to a counselor because they are trained to help you overturn some of these. Many people refer to them as negative thinking patterns, but I like to refer to them as unhelpful thinking patterns because there could be a lot of negativity in the world, and some interpret negativity as realism. But the real question is the way that you're thinking about this problem, is it helping you to get to a place that you're happy in life? Does it work towards that solution? And if it doesn't work towards that solution, then it's an unhelpful thinking pattern. So just like in life, you may have to cut out certain things that may include people, ways of viewing things, perceptions, activities. Sometimes can't do anything about that tangle. You might have to get a haircut. And with wires, you might have to leave your old wired headphones and purchase an expensive pair of Bluetooth connected ones. So how do you let go of the past and move forward? Number 10 is reinvent yourself. So you've done the inevitable. You got to make peace with the result. It was not what you intended, not what you anticipated, but you got to deal with it, right? Handling it is all in your perspective. Take this opportunity to make a radical change and try something new. We all know that you can't keep doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. But you may not be ready for what's going to happen to you next. The good thing is, you never know what people you will meet, experiences you will have, knowledge that you may gain, all because of the simple change that you never anticipated. You may be pleasantly surprised that this new you that you had not anticipated was more than you expected. So, my suggestion is tap into that alter ego that you have, release that inner superhero, the one that you pull out to help you fight all your battles. Channel that muse that inspires you and make the new look your own. If you have trouble with it, just act as if. Ask all the great divas, Cher, Madonna, J-Lo, Tina, Beyonce. You're never too old to reinvent yourself. So I hope this presentation was amusing, informative, and made you think differently about a lot of things in life. So the next time you see a well-organized computer wire spaghetti, I hope you think about organizing the life events that you experience to prevent turmoil and actually tapping into serenity. And the next time you're detangling your hair, I hope you realize that there are a lot of tools that you already have right now that you know about that can help you get through a challenging situation. So even though there are a lot of challenging, tumultuous events that happen in all of our lives, and there's nothing that you can do to shield yourself from them, just think back to some of the tips that we covered in this presentation, and you'll have all the power that you need to unravel all of those strands of turmoil and look within yourself to find serenity. I hope you have a wonderful day, and thanks for listening. Until next time, keep shining. Bye-bye.